So it's no secret that I think nearly everyone and their dad is going to be trying to sign Tom De Koning in the 2025 AFL offseason. I mean, he could very quickly become one of the most in-demand players that we've seen in a recent trade period, especially depending on, well, how his form is going to go this year. Again, I think there would be some out there who would probably argue that De Koning is a top 5 ruckman in the game right now. But there was also some who would argue that if his 2025 AFL season is the breakout season that we think it possibly could be, De Koning could quickly not only become a top 3 ruckman in the game, but contend for being the best ruckman in the game. Again, that's how much, a lot of people are really, really hyped about De Koning, and this has led to a ton of AFL teams being interested in him. 2 of them, of course, being St Kilda and Richmond, which we're going to be talking about in today's video. Again, the reason why this is so interesting and a very big talking point right now in the AFL world is that Carlton, from what we know, are arguably the tightest team in the AFL when it comes to their salary cap, meaning that a guy like De Koning might, unfortunately for them, have to leave because they just cannot afford to, of course, re-sign him. Now, before I do get into St Kilda and Richmond's interest and whether or not I think he will leave or stay, I would just like to say there's a decent amount of you guys who watch these videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you could do me a massive favor and leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel for all the latest sports content and news. And I guess without further ado, we'll get straight into it with the first big report coming right now that does say by Sam Edmund that multiple sources familiar with the situation said that the Saints have indicated they would be prepared to give Tom De Koning a 7-year contract worth $12 million. Again, that will probably end up being about $1.4 to $1.7 million a year. And if you're sitting there thinking, holy crap, that would make him the highest paid player in the game. I don't care if he does become the best ruckman in the game. How is he going to be the highest paid AFL player? And look, I'll just start off by saying that in a couple years, you're going to start to see some insane contracts because by, I believe, 2031, the AFL and Channel 7 will be discussing a new contract for the TV rights. Again, the interesting thing though this time around is that other competitive companies like Channel 9 obviously has been really getting into trying to take over the AFL. We're having some of the best AFL shows going around right now, like the Sunday Footy Show and whatnot. They would absolutely love to compete with Channel 7 in signing the AFL and having them, of course, be the free-to-air TV rights. And I think this will be so interesting. I really don't know what the contract's going to look like. But again, this means that the salary cap is 100% going to increase. And a lot of people have been saying, especially a lot of experts out there, that the salary cap is going to really, really go up. Again, to a point where those contracts of De Koning being paid well over $1 million a year will start to become so common. And the thing is, if you sign him for 7 years and his first year starts in 2026, that means he could have at least like 2 or 3 years after that TV deal is signed when the salary cap is going to dramatically rise. So this contract could be very back-ended, which is going to be very similar to what a lot of contracts are going to be in this upcoming free agency period. Again, I love this move by the St Kilda Football Club. I think, and I've said it before on this channel, in my opinion, Rowan Marshall plays his best footy as a player who is a key forward and a ruckman. Again, a guy who can do 50% of one, 50% of the other. I think when he goes down and plays key forward, especially in the limited time that we see him down there, he just succeeds so well. And the last great season St Kilda really had was when they had Paddy Ryder and Rowan Marshall as that 1-2 ruck combination where they could both rotate through the ruck and up forward. I think if you were to get De Koning on St Kilda, you could very well have them rotating, 50% De Koning plays in the ruck, then Marshall's down there for the other 50, and then they just completely swap. Again, I think it would be absolutely insane. They had the idea with Ivan Soldo in the last off season. They didn't quite pull it off. De Koning is a way better forward than what Soldo is. He's a way better ruckman than what Soldo is. Again, I actually really like the deal by St Kilda if they can make it happen. The issue is that Richmond are going to be in this conversation. Richmond are obviously going to have some of the most salary cap that we've probably ever seen this offseason. They're not paying Dusty anymore, and he's $1.5 million per year, which was the highest pay in the AFL. Tom Lynch is actually the highest paid player of 2025 on about 1.5, 1.6. And before that, they were also paying Shea Bolton $1.1 million, which was the 7th highest paid player in the league. Again, you now don't have the 1st highest paid player of 2024, the 1st highest paid player of 2025, the 7th highest paid player in the AFL anymore to pay, meaning that they're going to have a ton of salary cap to use. Again, Tom Lynch could still go on for another year and probably will, but it definitely won't be anywhere near the contract he was previously on, and could just be a 1-year deal worth like 400, 500k, especially with all the injuries he has. That will save Richmond $1 million and more over this free agency period. So they're going to have a ton of money to use on free agents, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went up to De Koning, maybe not offered him that much, but I think they would offer him a fair bit to come and join this rebuild that they've got going on now. A rebuild that is already well ahead, considering they just had 7 near first round picks and of course just drafted 8 players. They'll have 2 presumably top 5 first round picks of 2025 as well. Again, they still got a lot of really good players on that Richmond team. I think eventually over the next couple years could be a really solid outfit. And I know De Koning won't want to rebuild again, but I don't think he'll be rebuilding like he did on Carlton for 5 or so years. I'm very optimistic and hopeful that I think Richmond could get this rebuild done in 3 years, 4 years top. So I'm extremely excited to see what happens here, because I think De Koning has 2 really good choices. Be the number 1 ruckman at Richmond and be their future ruck, or be the technically number 1 ruckman at St Kilda, but when he needs to go rest down forward, he's got a player to rely on there. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see how that, of course, does go, who he maybe picks, or does he go to Carlton? Does he stay at Carlton? I really don't know. I think he might actually leave. He's one of the guys I think will be on the end of leaving, due to the fact that if Carlton are so tight with their salary cap, I can't see them being even able to offer him $1 million, let alone $1.5 to $1.7 million that St Kilda are going to be offering him, and the 1.4, probably 1.5 that Richmond are going to be offering him. Again, if he gets those offers, you can basically say he is as good as gone to one of those teams. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest AFL content and news. Where do you guys think De Koning's going to go, or could it be another team that jumps in? Somehow Geelong will probably have a look at him. I don't know where they're getting the salary cap from, but they'll probably have a look. Again, or will he just stay at Carlton? I'd very much like to know your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to my sports channel, which is this one, my gaming channels, and my IRL/Long channels. Links for them will be in the description down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.